Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching accesstv.org.
Welcome back to Miss Cleo Storytelling Corner. Today, I'm going to read a book to you. It's a wonderful book. All you little girls sit down and you little boys sit down and listen too. This is The Bravest Girl in the World. And I'm going to read this to you, and you just listen and hear how she becomes the bravest girl in the world. And then after I read this book to you, I want to talk to your parents. So you make sure your parents are sitting down when I ask you to call your parents to watch Miss Cleo. Okay? But first we're going to read The Bravest Girl in the World. Let me find my glasses here. Can't see without my glasses. Oh, wow. Let's see. Okay. Tashi was a pretty brave girl. There were lots of things she was not afraid of. She wasn't afraid to climb trees, even the tallest tree in her yard. She was not afraid to jump into the pool at the Y and swim from one end to the other. She wasn't afraid of scary movies on TV either. Even her dad was afraid of those. But Tashi was afraid of something. She was afraid of dogs. Dogs were so loud and they looked so fierce. When they barked, you could see all their sharp teeth. Tashi was so scared of meeting a dog that she hadn't walked down the block alone since she and her family moved to the city. And she hadn't made any friends. When her mom and dad asked why she wouldn't go outside to play, she told them that the big kids who played jump rope outside looked mean. But what she was really afraid of was the dogs. Who knew how many dogs there might be on this block? Just last week, Tashi and her mom were walking home when a dog came up to them. Mom likes dogs. She knew a lot about them too. She shouldn't just run up to a strange dog and put your hands in his face, said Mom. Just relax and hold your arms at your sides. Let him sniff you. See? Mom put her hands in her pockets and let the dog smell her clothes. Then she asked the owner if it would be all right to pet him. The man said, sure, he's friendly. Soon Mom and the dog had made friends. You can do it too, Mom said. He still might bite me, Tashi said. She had hid behind Mom the whole time so that dog couldn't get close to her. One Saturday, Mom had to work and Dad was busy with Asha, Tashi's baby sister, who was cranky. Tasha was helping him as much as she could. Dad said, we're out of milk. I have nothing to put in Asha's bottle. I wish there were a big girl in this house who could help me by going down to the corner store for some milk. I'm a big girl, Tashi said. I can help you. Dad gave her a hug. I know you're a little scared to walk down there by yourself, Tashi, but it's not very far, and I'll be right here waiting for you. So Dad gave Tashi some money, and she started walking. The apartment building on her block looked big and scary. Soon, she couldn't see her house. Her heart was pounding in her chest. Then Tashi heard something loud. She turned around to look. It was a big white dog. He was running out of his building and he was barking at her. Tashi ran to the nearest tree and climbed it as fast as she could. The dog jumped up on the tree and kept on barking. Tashi thought she was going to cry. Someone ran up next to the dog. He stopped barking and sat right down. It was a girl about the same age as Tashi. Why don't you come down from there? She asked. I can't, said Tashi. Why not? Asked the girl. Because I'm afraid of him, Tashi said, pointing down at the dog. You don't have to be afraid of my dog, said the girl. And she's not a him. She's a her. Her name's Sugar. She's really nice. Come on down so you can pet her. The girl clipped Sugar's leash to her collar. Sugar is not a very scary name, thought Tashi. She looked down at Sugar, who was standing by the tree with her tongue hanging out of her mouth. She almost looked like she was smiling up the tree. Does she ever bite people? Tashi asked. Sugar never bites, said the girl. She just barks. That's her way of saying hello. Tashi took a deep breath. Slowly she climbed down from the tree, but she stood right beside it, just in case she had to climb back up again. Hello, she said to Sugar. Sugar sniffed her up and down. Put out your hand, said the girl. She'll lick you. Tashi didn't know if she wanted Sugar to lick her, but she put her hand out anyway. Sugar's tongue was wet, but it was also warm and soft. Tashi lightly touched the top of Sugar's head. It was soft too. This isn't so scary, Tashi said to herself. She smiled. My name is Mika, the girl said. I'm Tashi, said Tashi. I'm going to the store to get some milk for my mom, said Mika. I'm going there too, Tashi said. On the walk home, Mika let Tashi hold Sugar's leash. Where do you live? Mika asked. I haven't seen you around here before. I'm new, Tashi said, pointing to her apartment building. They counted how many buildings there were between them. 4. Not many at all. See you tomorrow, Mika asked. Okay, said Tashi. See you tomorrow. The next afternoon, Mika came over to play in the yard at Tasha's building. If you show me how you got all the way up in that tree yesterday, said Mika, I'll teach you how to climb to jump double dutch. Then you can play with the big kids out front. Tashi climbed all the way to the top of the old tree, slowly, so Mika could see how she did it. Just hold on tight. Find a good spot for your feet and don't look down, said Tashi. Now you try. Mika climbed up to the first big branch. Then she stopped. She held on tight and looked down. "What's wrong?" said Tashi. "You're doing great." "I'm too scared," Mika said. "I can't climb any higher." "Yes, you can, Mika. You're brave," said Tashi. "You aren't scared of dogs. You aren't afraid to go to the store by yourself. You aren't afraid to jump rope with the big kids. You can do anything if you just try." Mika held on tight. She didn't look down. She climbed until she was almost as high up in the trees as Tashi. When Tashi's mom stuck her head out the window to call Tashi in for dinner, she saw the two girls sitting near the tippity top of the old tree. They were laughing and cheering. "What are you girls playing?" called Mom. "We're playing a new game," said Tashi. "It's called The Bravest Girl in the World." Oh, what a wonderful story. And when we come back from our break, we're going to talk to your mommies and your daddy. So bring them in so they can hear Miss Cleo's message about the bravest girl in the world. Right now, we're going to take a break. So I'll be right back. Go get your mom and dad.
I'm attorney Jeffrey Dressler. No matter how well you prepare, accidents happen. When they do, call me. 24/7, 1122. How do you judge a law firm's success? Cases won, money made, or what the firm does in the community? At Dressler Strickland, we know that success is just the beginning. The true measure of success is what you do with it. For 33 years, we've used our success to help our neighbors and our community. 24/7, 1122. Whenever you need us, we'll be there. Dressler Strickland, building communities one case at a time.
The folks at Cull Books in Hartford want to remind parents, kids need to exercise the most important muscle in their body, the brain. How do you do that? Read. What happens? Well, let me tell you. The imagination soars, the creativity blossoms, the world opens up, and the need to be entertained by outside forces diminishes. Don't believe me? Try it. You won't be sorry. And in time, either will your kids. Cull Book cares about your child's literacy. Join Miss Cleo every week on Miss Cleo's Storytelling Corner online at accesstv.org.
Hi, I'm Councilwoman Cynthia Jennings, and everyone is watching accesstv.org. Share it, watch it, learn from it. We are very proud to have accesstv.org in Hartford.
Welcome back to Miss Cleo's Storytelling Corner. Now, I hope the parents are sitting there. And I hope you went and got your parents and they're sitting down just listening to the last portion of the program. The reason I wanted you parents to sit down, in this book, The Bravest Girl in the World, and there's lots of books like this just for you. It's a scholastic book, and it has a lot of information in it of how you can help your child read. And I'm going to read some of those to you, and I'm going to read about the authors who wrote the book. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about fear. We've all been afraid, and this book kind of gives you some girl power, really, to help our children get over their fear. And even maybe us to remember all the times we were afraid and we had to overcome. And we know that there are some things we just have to overcome, whether we're afraid or not. So I'm going to read you first of all the letter from the editors of this book. It says, "What's the best way to help your child love reading? Find good books like this one to share and read together. Here are some tips. Take a picture walk. Look at all the pictures before you read. Talk about what you see. Take turns. Read to your child. Ham it up. Use different voices for different characters and read with feeling. Then listen as your child reads to you or explains a story in his or her own words. Point out words as you read. Help your child notice how letters and sounds go together. Point out unusual or difficult words that your child might not know. Talk about those words and what they mean. Ask questions. Stop to ask questions as you read. For example, what do you think will happen next? How would you feel if that happened to you? Read every day. Good stories are worth reading more than once. Read signs, labels, and even cereal boxes with your child. Visit the library to take out more books and look for others just for you books. You and your child can share. These are very important points. And I remember reading with my children, and I read and then they read. And I learned that from my aunt when I was not a very good reader in school. And she would read a part and I would read a part. And I had a wonderful time. It's probably the only time that I wanted to read is when my aunt and I would read together. And look at the pictures and talk about the pictures and talk about the book. That was a wonderful time for me. And as I grew, we started to read Shakespeare, which I was never really great at, but she got a great kick out of laughing at me. And I didn't think that was so funny, but I learned how to love words and the sound of words. And I went to many Shakespearean plays with my aunt. So help your child. And I also realized that all of us are not comfortable in reading. I know that. So this is what you do. You get someone else, but you have to sit there with your child and enjoy that story with them and have that person read the story with your child. If you are not comfortable with words, everybody is not comfortable with words, and that's just the way it is. But you find a way to share that reading time with your child every day, even if you have to bring in somebody else to help you do it. It will be invaluable. And believe me, you will see the difference in your child, and your child will learn how to love to read. And I'm going to read you just a little about the authors. Olivia George is the author, and Randy Duburk is the illustrator or the artist. And they say, I had lots of fears when I was younger. As I grew up, I realized that many of the things I was most afraid of were things I really wanted to do. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Conquering a fear by facing it was always very exciting. It still is. I've learned that it's okay to be afraid, as long as I don't let the things I'm afraid of keep me from having new experiences and making great new friends. I am going to read a part of that again because that is such an important thing. I've learned that it's okay. It is okay to be afraid. Let your children know that. It's okay to be afraid as long as I don't let the things I'm afraid of keep me from having new experiences and making great new friends. Olivia was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, on a block with lots of big kids and dogs. She had always loved to write, and she was lucky enough to have teachers, family members, and friends who not only encouraged her, but made wonderful characters for her stories. A graduate of Princeton University in New Jersey, she now lives in Oakland, California, where she is a certified massage therapist, child care provider, freelance editor, and full-time dreamer. This is her first book. Isn't that wonderful? She wrote this book out of her own experiences. You could do that too. And she found the illustrator. Isn't that wonderful? This is her story and a lot of your stories. And you could write your first book just like she did. Now I'm going to read you about the artist. Randy Duburk says, I love Tashi and Mika's friendship, the heart and soul of this story. They each have fears, but they are able to help each other overcome them and reach their full potential. Helping each other is a crucial part of any true and lasting friendship. That's something I value in my relationships. He saw something in this book, and look at the wonderful pictures that he drew in these books. Look at Tashi. Do you see that fear in her eyes? And her friend at the bottom of the tree, and look at that dog. He does look fierce, but dogs have sharp teeth, right? And he wasn't a very vicious dog. Randy was born in Washington, Georgia, but moved to Brooklyn, New York when he was very young. A self-taught artist, he has been drawing for as long as he can remember. Randy studied graphic design in New York City Technical College, where he received an Associate of Arts and Science degree. He has done illustration work for the New York Times Book Review, Mad Magazine, MTV, and DC and Marvel Comics. His first picture book, The Moon Ring, which he wrote and illustrated, was the winner of the Coretta Scott King John Steptoe New Talent Award for illustrations in 2003. Randy now lives in Switzerland with his wife and son. Wow. Now, if you notice, when you're reading, you really have to listen. He was a self-taught artist. He was already an artist when he went to school because he had been an artist his whole life. That was his gift. And he expanded on that. And he went further. You take your gift and you make it grow. I know a young girl who is an artist, and she's my granddaughter. And I hope that she loves to draw. She loves to use her hands. By the time she is in high school, junior high, she is already an artist right now, and she is going to be better. And maybe she'll go on and do many, many things. You see how it works? It starts out one way and you keep going, and you never let fear stop you. And you make good friends like Tashi and Mika. They helped each other. They were strong together. Isn't that wonderful? Parents, I know it's not easy after working a hard day, and after coming home, all you want to do is get that dinner on the stove and relax. But take that extra step. Please take that extra step. And if you are too tired, get someone there to do that reading with your child for you. But you must be there and talk about the story and be with your child and relax a little bit with your child and ask her the questions about the child. And maybe she'll be an author. Maybe even you will write the story of the day I began to help my child with her future or his future. Wow, what an adventure it is going to be for you. So, good books, libraries, bookstores, a nice little book section in your home will start it all out. And thank you for sitting down and listening to Miss Cleo. And I will see you next week. And please come visit me again. I'll be here again next week. And you remember, read a little, write a little, dream big. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.